But Dad, isn't it time for illegal ham in the face? But bro, where's the banjo?
Some Cleveland sports shows try to give you hot takes, but only one can give you a big old piece of hot ham. Welcome to Illegal Ham to the Face. Talking all Cleveland sports. And don't forget our Fat Boy Tuesday, where we also ham it up with some fun food topics. Without further ado, let's serve up some ham. Here are the Ham Boys, Fatty, and Big Bri.
What is going on, everybody? My God, look at that national championship shirt I got to stare at tonight. I knew this was happening.
Just a matter of time.
Welcome on into Illegal Ham to the Face, a Network 216 show. I am that fat guy, Jared Fatty Bates. He is Big Bri. What's going on, big fella?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. How you doing?
This is like the best week for you, isn't it? Like, this is just hands down. Like, you're just on cloud nine, just, enjoying life, aren't you?
All expectations, all the fruition has come to be from the start of the season, even though the Browns year hasn't looked quite like we thought. But man, what a start to 2024. Hell yeah. Are you kidding me?
Justice said that's okay. He's wearing his Flacco Browns jersey. It is great to be back live again. We had to pre-record the show last week. I was in the comments for a little bit last week, chiming in with people. We had over 1,200 views on Twitter. We had over 120 views on YouTube. So please keep it up, people. Tell your friends about us. We're having fun. We're going to keep doing it the way we do it, Brian. Start the show with a little bit of shout outs. I will go first this week. I did see our boy Phillips today. So I got to see pictures of the baby girls. So congratulations to Phillips. Shout you out. Shout out my mom and everybody. And then I got to shout out my baby sister for making us this guy right here. Look at this Illegal Ham to the Face t-shirt. Boom. Got cup and everything. So can't wait.
Wow.
Can't wait to get all that stuff going. But just thanking everybody. And Brian, you got any shout outs this week?
Yeah, let me shout out the guy that my buddy who got me this shirt. You know him, Turner. And I told you, believe it or not, he is a Ohio State alumni. And out of all my friends, he got me this shirt. So shout him out. His wife is a big Michigan fan. So he got her a shirt and he got me a shirt. And believe it or not, his wife is also an Ohio State alumni. So I don't know how that happens, how you go to Ohio State, but you're a big Michigan fan. So I don't know. She can separate her fandom from the studies, I guess. I couldn't do it, I don't think. Could you ever possibly do that? Could you go to Michigan?
No.
I know, right? That's tough to do.
I don't know how she did it. Like, did something happen that she just said? It might be, something. I know Turner. It might be because of Turner.
No, they met at Ohio State.
No. I'm
they
not
didn't know
saying
each other beforehand.
I'm not saying it's not because of that. I'm just the fandom that Turner has for Ohio State and the way he acts sometimes might have turned the wife off to Ohio State and turned her on to Michigan.
No. She's from up around Northwest Ohio, like the farmlands around like Toledo. So she's from closer to Michigan. So yeah, I think I'm guessing she just grew up in a Michigan family. But yeah, why do you want to go to Ohio State growing up in a Michigan family? I don't know. Of course, a lot of people can't get into Michigan, so they just their fallback school is Ohio State.
Well, unless you're paid to come play football, and you can get whatever you want out of Michigan. Congratulations,
That'd be nice.
I know I gave you a little backhanded slap the first night, but Michigan went all the way. I forgot how many seniors they had on that team, Brian. A lot of seniors on that team. And something, that defense is a legit defense. And to go through, beat Alabama, go through and get your championship, congrats, bud. I know you're celebrating with Babe and Pat, so Enjoyed seeing that face. God, that's an ugly face. I'll tell you what, as soon as I got the picture of you two drinking together, I'm like, of course, like the one friend that you have that just you're with, and then it's got to be that face. That face you got to hang out with. Like, I am surprised you don't get more bar fights with that guy than anybody.
So we went. So I Googled like Michigan watch parties in Northeast Ohio, and not a whole lot came up. I was expecting more, but it said something about like Saucy Brew Works. I don't know if you ever heard of them. They're like a local brewery. Yeah, they have several locations in Northeast Ohio. So there was one Saucy Brew Works in Ohio City, and they live downtown. So I drove up there, crashed on the couch, and then we just drove to Ohio City to watch it there. And there are 15, 20 Michigan fans there. So it was a good time. I'm still in shock, still in awe. Just the way they shut down Penix. Because I told you I thought he should have been the Heisman Trophy winner.
I think
he's been the best college quarterback this year, and to only give up 13 points to them, and it was the ultimate team defense because they don't have any studs, they don't have any Aiden Hutchinsons or anybody like that who's going to be a top 10 pick. But I don't know. Something about it, and they're probably going to lose their head coach and their defensive coordinator, and start anew next year. But for the next several months, I'm going to be enjoying this one.
Hey, that's all right. Enjoy it, bud. I mean, the little backhanded slap I gave you was, you guys were due. You haven't had a championship since 1948, and then you kind of get a little upset with that. And I was like, I understand why, but when you're co-champs with somebody, it's like kissing your sister, and it really shouldn't count.
Not their fault. Not their fault for going undefeated in a year and a season where they had a flawed system. So, as arrogant as Ohio State fans are, let's just recap. In the last 20 years, Ohio State has won national championship. Michigan has won national championship in the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Last 30 years, Michigan has 2. Ohio State has 2. In your lifetime, in my lifetime, they have the exact same amount of national titles. So. I mean, that hurts. And right now, Michigan, it's hard to argue that Michigan's not above Ohio State after putting it to them the last 3 years. And so Ohio State fans, they're so focused on recruiting class. We got this guy, we got that guy in recruiting. 2 out of the last 3 years, you haven't even been competitive with Michigan. So you're going to have to eat a green one on that one.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm excited. I love your coach. I'm going to love your new quarterback, completing 61% in the Big 12. That's my kind of guy. Everybody torches him. Looks what Penix did to the Big 12. Looks what Joe Burrow a couple years ago did to the Big 12 in the college football playoffs, and that's the best teams. This guy couldn't even complete 61% against, like, Iowa State and Oklahoma State and Kansas.
But Bri, he played at Kansas State. Like what
exactly
does Kansas State
exactly
have? No, to stop.
You're taking a Kansas State quarterback and he's your guy.
It's not like I'm taking him. I'm not taking him anywhere.
He's your guy regardless.
Ugh,
you got to deal with it for the next year. Yeah, or hope for an 18-year-old kid.
Justin, me too. I miss Rich Rod. I do too.
I thought Justin was. You said last week Justin was a Michigan fan.
He was. He was rooting right along with you. I don't know what the heck is going on. The Tampa's in the house. Big man, our fantasy league.
Yeah, congrats, big man.
Champ is in here. Gave me a little.
Do you want to? Have you shown everyone the belt yet?
I have not shown everyone. I don't have it in my possession yet. I'm getting it this weekend. So, but I will. You've seen the belt. Big man's seen the belt. He showed me he told me a little wrinkle he might want to add to the fantasy football league, but we'll see when we get there.
I can't wait.
MC said Bry's getting a little out of control right now, which is, hey,
come on.
No, it's okay.
Almost 40 years old, and this is basically the first national title I can actually remember and celebrate. This one and the Cavs. I basically have 2 championships in my adult life that I can celebrate. So, which brought me back to the question we've discussed before, and I'll give my list real quick, and then maybe you can give your list, because obviously I'm head over heels. I love Michigan football, but a Michigan championship is not like a Cleveland championship for me. So it goes Browns number 1. I'm going to say Guardians number 2 because the Cavs just won one. So even though I like basketball better than baseball, I put the Guardians number 2 because I want to see them win a championship. Then the Cavs would be 3, and then 4 is Michigan football. So what do you got?
I got the Browns and the Guardians. The Cavs, I'm not really like Browns, Guardians 1, 2. I would put Ohio State 3. And since the Cavs just won one, they're rebuilding. And the NBA, especially for us, you know, it's hard being a basketball fan in Cleveland. I mean, we've had a LeBron, but without LeBron, we've been kind of like, eh. And it's hard for me with that one. If anything else, it would be Columbus Blue Jackets. I would love a Blue Jackets championship. Go down and party with my sister and my brother-in-law and have a fun there because obviously we got the soccer championship, but I haven't been down to party with them yet, and that'd be fun. But yeah, it would go Browns, Guardians, Ohio State, probably Cavs, and then hockey. Man,
so you've I don't know if Ohio State's falling down your power rankings or the Browns maybe with this magical run are moving up because before last time I asked you, Ohio State was number 1.
Yeah, but the Browns, okay, since we've been doing this show, I have been more in depth. Like, I don't know, like I used to follow recruiting and everything else with Ohio State. I have been more into the Browns now than I have with Ohio State football, that I know the players that are there, Brian. I know what's going on, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just kind of like, I'm trying to do both, but I'm more focused on the Browns right now than anything.
Can I say something that's going to upset you?
Go ahead.
Typical Ohio State fan, bandwagoner. As soon as they start doing bad, I don't pay attention to Ohio State. But if they were making the college football playoff every single year, like
right,
they'd be your number 1. But now that they're losing to Michigan, like, I'm kind of off them a little bit.
No, now, Bri, listen, did I not watch that piece of shit game they had against Missouri? Yes. Did I not text you during that game against Missouri? Yes. Did you ask me if I was going to shut off that game and not watch it anymore? And I told you no. I'm going to finish watching this piece of shit, and we're just going to go from there. It's not like my fandom hasn't changed. It's not like I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I'm just saying right now with the run that the Browns are on is a different run than what once they lost to Michigan, Bri, it's not, that season's over. It really doesn't matter anymore to us because we go to the playoffs, right? That's what we're supposed to do. So since we lost to Michigan, if Michigan would have lost to Ohio State and not gotten to the playoffs, would you fucking cared and watched anything else?
No, mine hasn't changed. The Browns are my ride or die.
Yeah.
Even through 1-16 or 0-16 or whatever. But yeah, it's everyone. I'm just giving you a hard time, but it's funny to me because I've always said
I know
it's the easiest thing in sports is to be an Ohio State fan, Ohio State football fan. It takes you're favored in 95% of your games. You're favored to win, and you win 90% of your games. So it's these, and obviously the last couple of years in the Michigan, it's been very easy to be a Michigan fan the last couple of years. But
just admit we're Alabama. Just admit we're Alabama. That's what
Alabama with 6 national titles in the last 15 years. You think you're on that level? You have one.
They
have one.
They win 95% of their games. They're favored 95% of their games. They win 90% of them. Hey, so do we.
6 championships, 1 championship. You tell me if that's close.
I can't help it that they give hand jobs out to the people at ESPN and the college football
playoff.
Georgia, and right here, MC Lawrence, Georgia is the true national championship. I'm not saying they're not. That should have been the other team that should have been in besides Texas. But it is what it is.
You guys are just going down the checklist of Ohio State fans. Now you're making excuses. They're doing this. We're not doing that. And then you go to checklist number 3. Well, we were rooting for Alabama. Then Alabama lost. So then we were rooting for Washington. And then Washington lost. So we're just going to say Georgia would have beat you anyways.
I didn't say Georgia was going to beat them.
He just did whoever this guy is.
I'm saying MC
true national championship.
I am just saying that Georgia should have been in the playoff.
No, they lost to Alabama. See what you don't understand is there was really a 6-team playoff.
I know.
Alabama and Georgia played each other. The winner advanced. Michigan, Ohio State played each other. The winner advanced. So that's how you got down to your 4. They got eliminated because they played a head-to-head.
Well, what about Florida State then? They won. They didn't advance.
I was with you. They should have been in there. I was with you. They got screwed, but yeah, they weren't winning anything anyways with their third string quarterback. So
something nothing like a legal ham coming in hot and heavy on college football right out of the gate. I knew this was going to happen.
You can't bring me down right now. I'm number one.
I'm not trying to bring you down, bud. Enjoy it.
I'm punching down at Ohio State right now.
Hey, you're on your
but they have a good recruiting class, and that's the only thing they seem to care about.
Well, I guess. I mean, all I know is I got a whole bunch of seniors now coming back to Ohio State that would have gone in the draft.
Give me three must-see guys for next year. Abuka, okay, I'll spot you that one. Who else?
Buka, the running back from Ole Miss that we ended up getting in.
What's his name? Now you can't even tell me anything about him.
He's from Ole Miss. What am I supposed to do?
Quinshawn Judkins. Yeah. Okay. So now you're excited about an Ole Miss running back?
Oh my God, bro, you're killing me.
And I'm telling you, you can't knock me off right now. Ohio State will be good next year, and they're like I said, they're going to be favored in 95% of their games. But they're nothing I'm afraid of anymore.
All right. Hey, you just
Will Johnson, who's your quarterback? Will Thomas.
Hey, it's all right. You just keep writing
61%.
Just keep
not much of an upgrade over Kyle McCord, I don't think.
Hey, just remember this, and I want you to remember this, and I want you to enjoy this national championship, especially when in about 6 months there's going to be an asterisk behind it because something fucking happened, and Harbaugh will be gone, and then all the worms will start coming out like they did with Tressel and Urban. So
let's enjoy. Keep going. That's number 4. There's number 4. Check. Okay. Yep.
Hey, I'll keep going.
Question the validity of it. Okay. Now, all right. I like this. See, you're just typical Ohio State fan right now. I can read you from a mile away.
It's all right. You got to cheat to win. That's fine. That's fine.
Number 1. There's great success. Great success.
Enjoy it, Brian. I really do. Hey. That's awesome. I'm glad they did. They actually did play one hell of a championship game, and to stop Penix like they did kind of shocked me. I thought Penix was going to have a little better
you and me both. I'm not going to tell you I knew they were going to beat him by 3 touchdowns. I'm not going to disrespect Washington like that, but hey, they did. They played a hell of a game. It just sucks that, like I said last week, they're probably going to move on to Sherrone Moore, and we'll have to guess how good that quarterback is and coach is.
And we'll see what happens, Brian. I mean, it's a long, long off season. And speaking of off season, as we're in college football, Nick Saban retired, Brian. So not only did he not beat Michigan in the playoffs, now he's got to quit because Michigan beat him. That's what it was. He said, finally, Michigan beat me. I got to quit. I can't do this anymore. We're done. Alabama's time is done. The SEC is done. I got to walk away. And went and just his little swan song out. And who the hell do you think's going to coach Alabama now, Brian?
So this is the last puffing of the chest that I'll do as a Michigan fan. So Michigan beat in the last game. Michigan beat the greatest college head coach ever, Nick Saban. In his last game, Michigan beat the greatest college football player ever, Tim Tebow, in 2007. They beat in the very last game. They beat Tebow and Saban. Greatest respective player / coach. But I told you I thought it was going to be Dabo, just because he's an Alabama alum. He seems to have fallen on some harder times at Clemson, but it sounded like they wanted this guy from Oregon, but he's going back. So I don't know. I mean, you're Alabama at this point. You can basically have anybody, but probably like Ryan Day, Jim Harbaugh, Kirby Smart. You can have anybody else you want. You could have Steve Sarkisian if you so please. But yeah, it was a shocker to everybody. Saban, who has a lot of ties to Ohio, Kent State alum. I think he played defensive back at Kent State. Toledo head coach in 1990. Browns defensive coordinator. And Medina native, used to live in Medina when he was the defensive coordinator and with the Browns. And so, yeah, he's kind of a curmudgeon. He's kind of like the Bill Belichick, which we maybe get to later. But he's a good dude. He's someone I know. Ohio State fans, even me as a Michigan fan, I never really rooted against Saban. I appreciated his greatness, really, because after it took a while for him to build the program to where it was, in the last 5 years or so. But he turned it into like the Yankees, to where you just get better talent than everybody else. And so I have a lot of appreciation for where that program was when he took over to where it is today, and just how far he's come.
Yeah, and it's one of the greatest college football coaches of all time. It's just, there's no hands down, nothing. And, they started making jokes this morning about the Alabama State Police that kind of follow him around all the time. He's got like 4 people as his guard. They were joking around about him doing Saturday Night Live with the state police with him as he's walking into like a store or something. He's like, oh yeah, let me buy this. They're just pushing people out of the road, just, but hey, he's going right off into the sunset. And, another retiree that Browns tied is Bill Belichick. Him and the Patriots are kind of parting ways right now. A lot of people speculating that the Cleveland Browns will be getting some special coordinators because they deserve to be here with Belichick and Saban together, which would be nice.
Oh, you mean them coming back to be coordinators under Kevin Stefanski?
That would be the Super Bowl right there, Bri. That would be everything. The year that they couldn't get it done because they got fired and they took the team away from us, and they come back for the Super Bowl.
It's one of the greatest things that people don't talk about near enough. Just the fact that the greatest, what at least in our time, how they compare to Bear Bryant and Don Shula, I really don't know. But in our time, the greatest college football coach and the greatest pro football coach were both in Cleveland, Ohio, coaching for the Browns. And Art Modell had to go and screw it up and take the team away and get rid of everybody. But yeah, if you remember, I don't really remember because I was only in elementary school, but 94, they went to the playoffs, looked like they were building something. And then 95, I want to say they started like 3-1 or something in 95. And then the news came down that they were moving the team, and just kind of took the wind out of their sails. And I believe they ended up missing the playoffs. They might have only won 5 or 6 games that year. So
yeah,
another thing to hate Art Modell for.
Yeah, and people, hey, but according to the Sun, it was just a pause in time. We've always had a football team. It was just a pause. Cleveland Browns never left. It was just a pause. Well, you won a Super Bowl, you smug son of a bitch. All right, I had to get that off of my chest.
No,
by the way,
please go for it.
All right, Bri. So we got a whole bunch of stuff done already. Do you have trivia tonight, bud?
Oh, shoot, I do. But it's in my I took a snapshot of something, so if you want to filibuster, I can go get it. I forgot to write it down though.
Why don't you go get it real quick?
Yep.
And I'll fill in for a little bit, and we'll talk about.
You can tell everyone about the dog of the week.
All right, we'll go through City Dogs. I'll kick you out of here. Yep. See you. All right. So always our trivia is brought to you by City Dogs Cleveland. And City Dogs has been true to us and great to us. And we always have a dog of the week for our trivia. And this week we have, and I got screwed up here, his name is Ham Hawk. Cannot go wrong with a dog named Ham Hawk. You got him right here. Playful puppy. There with Chomps and the City Dog mascot. And just please go adopt. City Dogs has been amazing to us. If you can't adopt, please donate. They take anything and everything. He's an idiot. Ham Hawk's an idiot. Come on, MC. Easy. No, Ham Hawk is a great dog, and just go out and adopt, please. Help them out as best as you can. They're truly a great organization. They do a lot for all these dogs. As you can see, everybody pictured here with everything set up. And also they got one heck of a thing going on. One more picture of Ham Hawk with all his Browns gear on right there. And this weekend, because the Cleveland Browns are in the playoffs, they got the playoff pups. At your City Dog Pound, adopters receive a special bag with treats and more from the Milk Bone and the Browns. from Friday to Sunday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you adopt a dog, you get a bag, get a little treat set up. Also, we are in the works with City Dogs, getting something set up for another fundraiser for next year with them. Hopefully it melt and have a good time like we did last year. But please go adopt a dog from City Dogs. They need all the help they can get. And I'm going to play the sounder now because I see Bri's face pop right back in here. So all right, there we go. There's our trivia. Bri is writing it down vigorously right now. You doing good?
I got you. Yep.
All right. I'm sorry, MC. I saw that. That's we were talking about David Modell, and he called him an idiot right when I was talking about Ham Hock. I'm like, that dog's not an idiot. I don't even know that dog. But he was talking about David Modell.
Fair, very fair.
All right, Brian, give it to me.
Yep, I got you with it being playoff time. And the Browns really being maybe a Miami Dolphins win away from being the number 1 seed. It got me thinking, when was the last time the Browns had a first-round bye in the playoffs?
Oh, Nikes. That's a good one, big fella. I like that one. All right. That's a good one. All right. We'll get back to that here at the end of the show. Damn, talk about hit me in the face with a baseball bat right out of the gate. Thanks, Bri. Now I got to put my thinking cap on.
It'll be, it's gettable.
It's gettable. Okay.
Yeah, so that should be a clue for you.
All right. It's gettable. All right. Well, let's get into our show, Bri. We're going to be talking some Browns here. Coaching carousel has gone completely nuts, Bri. Vrabel's been fired. Pete Carroll is kind of, let's say, retired-ish. Onto the better pastures of life. Bill Belichick's out. Arthur Smith is out at the Atlanta Falcons. Bri, who else do you think might be on the chopping block here soon, bud? Because they're saying they're bringing back Eberflus back to Chicago, which is I don't know about that one, but we'll see what happens. What do you think about all these firings so far?
It's hard to be too surprised by anyone. I guess Vrabel, a little bit surprising, just because he's held in high regard around the coaching circles in the NFL. But they struggled mightily this year. They were really pretty bad at times but then they got it back together, beating the Jaguars in the final week of the season. But yeah, a lot of it is somewhat expected. Arthur Smith really, just never really amounted to anything, couldn't get anything going offensively the last few years and start using some of these high draft picks. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where Vrabel goes. A lot of people think maybe the Patriots. I think he's, not to crush Ohio State fans even more, it sounds like he's going to maybe look to take a NFL job. Somebody asked him last year or a couple months ago if he would ever have interest in going to college, and he said he would not. And it's hard to blame him. I think, honestly, that's college. To be a college football coach anymore is just a complete shit show. You see Jim Harbaugh wants to get out of it. Nick Saban wants to get out of it. If you're thought of as being one of the best football coaches, you probably want to go to the NFL because you don't have to deal with NIL. You don't have to deal with the transfer portal to where you have to be a salesman nonstop trying to sell, not just to recruits now. You have to sell the program to your own players every single year. Otherwise, they're 18, 19-year-old kids. They're temperamental, and you do something to upset them, and they're going to say, well, screw you, I'm going in the transfer portal. And so nobody wants to deal with that. Now you're also having to be a GM, basically, because you're having to structure these NIL deals to give these kids money. And if they don't get enough money, they're just going to go somewhere else. So I totally understand why people are avoiding college football. But to get back to the NFL, yeah, I think Vrabel's going to be a hot commodity. Belichick, I think maybe not every single team's going to be looking to get a Belichick, but he'll pretty much be able to name wherever he wants to go. And then as far as that, I don't know about the other things that would really surprise me much. I guess Tomlin, there are some rumors out there a few days ago that Tomlin might be looking to move on from the Steelers or maybe take a break or something from professional football. So if he did that, that would surprise me a little bit. But Steelers fans are crazy because I'm sorry, I'm going to keep throwing slander at Ohio State. Steelers fans of Ohio State, their expectations are high every single year, and if you don't go undefeated and win the championship, then we want to get rid of you. It's what Tomlin's done with the Steelers roster, which is not good at all, and to get them where they are is pretty unbelievable. But it's not good enough for the Steelers. So, I hope Tomlin leaves and they get somebody and they start going 6-11 or whatever, 5-12 every year, and they get a dose of that for a while because it's funny. I love where they're at right now because they're basically in purgatory. They're not good, but they're not bad enough to start getting top 10 picks. So they're just kind of stuck in the middle. So for me, I love it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of other thoughts about the coaching carousel in the NFL. It's just, I guess last year there were only maybe 5 coaches, 5 or 6 that lost their job, and the average is like 7.5. So people kind of see this coming to where, well, last year not many guys got fired, so this year there's probably going to be a lot of openings, and I think we're seeing that.
Yeah. Do you now? I got to ask you a true question because this is what I personally believe. Do you think Belichick's done coaching? Do you think he'll?
No.
Do you think he'll actually coach again?
He wants to break Shula's record from everything that I've heard. I mean, and I'm not a reporter or anything.
I'm just curious. I mean, at his age, everything else, and just the knowledge that he has being more of a front office than a coach, because I mean, he had total control there at the Patriots.
Yeah, I think it was maybe mutual. Just my opinion. I think they were ready to move in it to a different direction. He was ready to move on to a team that could maybe win now, and that's why the Chargers would probably be very appealing for him. You could go there, get the defense right, and just turn over the offense to Herbert. And yeah, I'd be a little afraid of that.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Jose Cotto is here tonight, Bri.
Yeah, my man.
Didn't show up for work today because he had a doctor's appointment, but he's talking about disability and wanting to kick back and relax. So
putting it all out there for him.
I mean, I'm sorry, I had to. He's all excited about it. Time off and getting paid for it and just loving life.
What did he say? What was his comment?
No, he just said, "Hey guys, how are we doing? We're doing great tonight."
Oh.
Bry's doing better than me, obviously, because Bry's just on that high
no doubt
right now. Justin, oh God, Justin, you're just going to get used to this. I was looking at your draft order, and we still have a first round pick. How's that trade working out? Justin, we're not going to have a first round pick for like the next 2 years, so you might as well just suck it up.
No, this is it. This is the last one.
Is this the last one? Are you sure? Because I'm sure we could trade away a first round pick for something.
They might, when you're in win now mode. First round draft picks aren't as important as when you're, picking in the top 10 every single year.
All right. And we did talk about a little bit about the Steelers. Trust me, we're getting to the Browns right after this. I do have to ask Brian a question. All right. We're getting to the Browns right after this one. How the hell do the Steelers keep backdooring their damn way into the fucking playoffs, Bri? I mean, they needed anything and everything to happen, and then they backdoored it right in. Like, can we just I know you're happy with purgatory for the Steelers, Bri. I'm not happy with purgatory. You want to know why I'm not happy with purgatory? Because we had to have nothing for 2 years, Bri. Nothing for 2 years to build back up to where we're at. I want the Steelers to have nothing.
No. I love where they're at. I absolutely love where they're at because Mason Rudolph certainly isn't the answer. And I pray that they go back to Kenny Pickett next year because he ain't going to win nothing. But so it's awesome. And we know that they're the luckiest franchise in the NFL, and it's not even close. They didn't have to play. They didn't have to play Joe Burrow twice.
Didn't have to play Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson didn't play this past game. They didn't have to play Deshaun Watson one time, and they still lost that game. I forgot that last week. Shout out to DTR for getting us that win.
Hell yeah.
So they were 5-1 in the division, but they didn't have to play. They beat Lamar once, and they beat Deshaun once, and that was about it. And they beat them in just ugly games. You remember the Steelers game? They got 2 defensive touchdowns, and Nick Chubb tearing his knee up, 15 minutes into that game, and everything turns up their way. But they're not going to win anything. So right now I don't really care. Maybe, who knows? By the grace of God, they find a way to beat the Bills, but they're not going anywhere this year.
The hate coming from Justin is just.
You will just ignore it. You don't have to put
like
it up
a
there.
nuclear.
It's going to be 9 months of this. And probably for as long as he claims to be a Browns fan, he's just going to trash on the Browns. So ignore it. Put it in the spam folder, so we don't even need to see it.
Craig's here. Woof, woof. Let's go Browns. What's going on,
There
Craig?
you go, Craig. I love the positivity, Craig. Thanks, sir.
All right, people. It's time. Let's do it. I'm going to bring it up because Chris is here and enjoying it, so let's do it. All right, so far for your Cleveland headlines, we are in the wild card round. We are playing Houston Texans, who had to win or go home, and they beat up on the Colts to make it in, and then the Jags lost to give them Bri. It was either wild card or division, and the Houston Texans won the division. How about that shit? So we're playing Houston, down in Houston. We are a 2.5-point favorite, Bri, and we are starting to get healthy, but sort of injured at the same time. And now that we're on Thursdays, we get to preview everything. So right now, Delpit is off of IR, but he is not playing this game, Bri. He is already ruled out for this game. Hopkins is ruled out for this game. And I believe, is it Tillman is out for this game also? With
concussion.
Today, what really sucked, though, is the news that came down today. Denzel Ward with a little bit of a knee injury during practice. He was limited. They're hoping that he plays. He's questionable right now. Thornhill is questionable right now. So we got a lot to dive into here. Playing Houston, Bri, Myles Garrett, CJ Stroud, Nico Collins. That we got to stop that dynamic. So how are you feeling about this matchup? I mean, was this the team that you wanted to play, or did you want to play somebody else?
I didn't have a strong feeling either way, as much as some people did for what NFC South team we were going to play. The Jags are the most talented team and the team that I'd be the most afraid of, but they've played like hot garbage over the last month. They played like one of the worst teams, frankly. They were like 8-4 and they finished 9-8 or something. So they were probably the team I would have preferred because they were playing so terrible, but they played bad enough to where they didn't even get in. And then between the Texans and the Colts, it was a coin flip. I mean, if you watched the game last Saturday, it came down to the Colts went for it on 4th down, and it was 4th and 1, and they threw to the running back out in the flat, and he dropped it. It hit him right in the hands. He dropped it. So he catches that. Maybe they go in and they win the game. The Colts and the Texans are pretty much neck and neck. So I didn't really have a preference there. I know people are afraid of CJ Stroud and what he might bring, but I'm not. And thinking back to the Colts game, we barely beat the Colts. I know it was with PJ Walker, but the defense gave up 38 points. So the Colts offense, it's not like they're just a terrible team and they can't put up any points. Gardner Minshew, he can have flashes to where he looks pretty damn good. He looks like a top 10 guy at times, but he's just not consistent enough. So between those teams, I didn't really have a preference. I don't know. Did you have a preference?
I would have rather played the Colts because I think we would have matched up better against the Colts. But It's just, God, the Colts. I feel so bad for the Colts. Like okay, Brian, I watched that game. I was so enthralled in that game. How the hell do you have your best player on the bench on the fourth, and then you try to throw the ball to the running back?
Yeah.
What? Taylor was hurt,
6.
came back, and you could have got the first down, and you threw it to your backup running back, and you underthrew it horribly.
Yeah.
Like, he was wide open, Brian. He was going to get the first down.
Yeah.
There was no ifs, ands, or if he would have put it on him, that was a first down, and that's a different kind of ball game what you got going on there. But, man, he just – but I'm telling you what, the connection between Nico Collins and C.J. Stroud is unreal, Brian. And it's hard for me to say this because it's Ohio State, Michigan.
Right. Who would have thought that? How did they have chemistry?
You know, I really didn't care because I still see, I think the AFC South is good, Bri, but they're not great. They have a lot of good teams that are starting to come up. You know, you have the Colts. Colts lost their quarterback at the beginning. The Jags started downhill slide as soon as Trevor Lawrence got hurt. And the Houston Texans, nobody expected Houston Texans to do this. Like, they expected them to win a few games, not this. And, you know, you got to give, I know I want to give Coach Stefanski, you know, Coach of the Year props, but man, you got to give Houston's coach some props too for that team. But, you know, it is what it is. We play who we play, Brian. I would have rather seen the Colts, but we got Houston. We're flying to Houston, and let's have some fun in Houston. Now, the thing that does scare me about this game, Bri, is our defense is kind of on the road. We've been playing great defense as of late, but on the road, and plus with Denzel Ward kind of nicked up, I would love to see Emerson on Nico Collins, a bigger safety or a bigger corner on top of Nico Collins the entire game. And they don't have a running game, Bri. Running game's kind of hit or miss. I think this game might come down to what we do on defense and special teams, bud. I think that's how we're going to end this game. You got any like picks that you want to see? Who do you want guarding Nico Collins?
Oh, I think Emerson makes a ton of sense. Like you said, you know, Collins is 6'4", and Emerson's a big corner, 6'2". So that makes a ton of sense to me to match those two guys up. And I honestly, I don't understand why more teams don't shadow, you know, with one corner on one receiver for most of the game. I can't understand. Like, going back to the other side of the ball, Amari Cooper, who had a tremendous game against the Texans, set all kinds of records. The Texans had a cornerback who was a defensive player of the month, I heard today. Derek Stingley, defensive player of the month in the AFC. And it's like, well, didn't we play the Texans in December? So why? Maybe they will. Maybe they'll make adjustments and just stick Stingley on Cooper and just have him shadow him all over the field, because that would make a ton of sense to me. But yeah, with the defense, I think you definitely stick Emerson on Collins, and then you let Denzel Ward. Hopefully, it sounds like maybe there's a little optimism towards the end of the day today that he's going to give it a go. But you let him, as long as he's feeling well, you let him shut down one side of the field, like shut down corners do, and then you let Emerson try to handle Collins. And I'm not buying, even though he's a Michigan guy, I'm not buying that he's some great receiver. I think he's an above average receiver, but he seems to be getting it done now. So I don't think you have to give him like special attention or anything like that. CJ Stroud throws a nice deep ball. So one thing that scares me a little bit is our safeties. Yeah,
and especially with Juan Thornhill so questionable, Delpit being out, that means we're going to be back down to probably Ronnie Hickman again. And and that's fine. They play great. I'm not saying they haven't played great, Bri. But for him to get that deep ball off, the offensive line's got to block well. And I think that's where we got the one up right now, our defensive line against their offensive line. But there's one matchup you got to watch for. Isn't Tunsil still there at Houston?
Yes.
You got Tunsil and Myles Garrett going at each other. One of the best left tackles and one of the best pass rushers going against each other. It's going to be a fun matchup. But I have a feeling the big person out of all this entire game, Bri, is Zadarius Smith. I think he's going to have the game that people would expect, because I think they're going to try to double Myles. And I think the rest of that defensive line is going to eat. And I hope they eat. Between him and JOK, I think that's where your big plays are going to come from on defense, is right there. Zadarius Smith and JOK.
And that's how it was in the last game we played him. Zadarius Smith had 2 sacks, so Myles Garrett didn't have any. And obviously that's because they're paying a ton of attention to Myles. But over the last month or so, Zadarius has maybe found his footing a little more. I don't know if he's just feeling more comfortable in the offense or getting more healthy, but he's starting to have more of an impact. So, yeah, that's a huge matchup. If Zadarius can get the pressure like he did last time, that would just be unbelievable. CJ Stroud from the Ohio State, he's not a super mobile quarterback, so he's going to sit in the pocket and wait for guys to get open. So there are opportunities there to get some pressure on him. So it's going to be fun to watch that battle. I think, to me, the most concerning thing for me, and maybe the biggest tipping point, is going to be our tackles versus their pass rushers, because they didn't have them last game. This Jonathan Grenard, who had 12.5 sacks, which is top 10 in the league with 12.5 sacks. He didn't play last game. Their rookie sensation, Will Anderson, third pick in the draft, who they traded up to get. You remember him from Alabama. He was just a monster. He has 7 sacks. So that could provide a little bit of pressure to Joe Flacco. And, Flacco's seen it all. He's gone against the best in the world over the last decade. But yeah, that gives me some concern with our tackles and their lack of experience. I hope we have a plan in case they start really disrupting the game, because I think they do that, you start turning the ball over. I think that's the blueprint for the Texans to win. I'm not so much worried about our defense, even though Stroud is a very talented quarterback. I have a lot of confidence in what our defense can do, but them getting the pressure on Flacco, and you remember the first game against the Texans where he had time to sit back there and throw those deep balls to Amari Cooper. He might not have that time now, so we have to adjust.
Well, and that, at that point in time, bro, if he doesn't have that time, that's when Elijah Moore and the underneath David Njoku come into play, getting those guys underneath. Now, that is if Elijah Moore is okay with concussion and everything else, he is going to play. But just still, you got to get that underneath routes. Let Amari try to get deep, get on top of somebody. But if you can't, you got to have those crossing routes and little dump off routes underneath. And the thing that sucks for us right now, though, Bri, is we're kind of one-dimensional. Our running game hasn't, since Flacco's been here, our running game hasn't been great. We've been trying to piece it together between Strong, Hunt. That was the other person that's on questionable, is Pierre Strong. Ford and Hunt, and trying to piece that thing together just to get a few yards running to keep the defense honest. But it seems like it hasn't happened. But Craig brought up one of the best points here. We're playing in a dome, Bri. No weather. We're not going to be out in the elements. We're not going to be in a blizzard like Chicago. We're not going to be, it's going to be in a dome, controlled environment, and that you can play fast. And what I like about that, got Amari Cooper. And I take Amari Cooper over anybody. The way he's played this year for the Cleveland Browns has been unreal. And now that we gave him some time off to get really healthy, watch out, Bri. It's going to be a big thing for us for Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I have no doubt Cooper's going to step up. Njoku's going to step up. It's just, what else? If they take those guys away, if they do have Stingley firmly planted on Cooper, and they know, hey, Flacco's safety blanket is Njoku, they take those guys away, what else can the other guys do? Because in the first matchup, Flacco completed 17 passes, or 27 passes. 17 of those were to Cooper and Njoku. So he only completed 10 to everybody else, and nobody had more than 2 receptions that game. So we're going to need these other guys. David Bell stepped up, even though we're not going to talk about the Bengals game a whole lot. He kind of stepped up and made some plays in that Bengals game. So with Ced Tillman out, you're going to need more to make 2-3 plays. You're going to need Bell to pick up a couple first downs. And then, like you alluded to, this running game has got to be a lot better. And since we played the Texans last, it has gotten better. The Jets game, even though the numbers didn't look great, I felt like Jerome Ford had some impactful runs. He's had some 10-yard first down runs, some ones that you kind of remember. But with the Texans, we played them last time. I don't know if the Texans' defense is really that good against the run, but they shut us down. I think we had 30 carries for 54 yards. So we didn't even get 2 yards to carry against them. And I know we were throwing it at will, and Amari Cooper was a madman. But yeah, that gives me a little concern.
Yeah, Chris just asked, is Elijah Moore ready? And he is. He's not on the injury report. He's not on the list. He passed concussion protocol. So he's ready. So we'll see what happens. Bri, what is the one? I know you talked about the defensive line. Is there one other concern you have about this game? As a Browns fan, looking at this Houston team, is there one other concern you have besides the defensive line?
I guess it would be, we talked Nico Collins, and yeah, I think we're going to be well aware of what he can do and shutting him down. But his next go-to guy is Dalton Schultz, and maybe I think the Browns have done better this year against tight ends, but in the past, 3-4 years, the tight end position has just killed the Browns. So he's certainly a capable guy. Rookie quarterbacks tend to lean on their tight ends quite a bit. So if he gets into open field or, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, we can't be giving up these first down passes to him. And he's not super explosive or anything like that, but before you know it, he could have 5 catches for 70 yards. Like what the heck? I thought we were doing a pretty good job against him. So yeah, being aware of him, I think Collins is for sure their first option. Schultz is their second option. So we got to take him away and not forget about him.
Yeah, I agree. And Schultz, we have been very good with the tight ends as of late. Like it's been kind of scary, but that's also a detriment to our linebackers and our safeties stepping up and covering, and also our slot cornerbacks at the time. We already said we weren't going to talk about Cincinnati game because it really doesn't matter. Brian, let's get some predictions. What's your score prediction for this wild card game?
I'm confident, and it sounds like every Browns fan is confident, and that gives me some worry because I really think, just where the level we're playing at, and I think the Texans are a good team, but they're still very young. So I have confidence that Joe Flacco has, we talked in the past that he has more road playoff victories than everybody other than Tom Brady. So he's certainly comfortable in this environment. But it does give me cause for concern with these tackles and with their pass rushers. But I think at the end of the day, we'll be all right. I think the defense steps up. I think Stroud might get one big play, but other than that, we're going to kind of keep him under wraps. So give me the Browns. I'm going to say the Browns. We'll say 26, and I'll say the Texans 17.
All right, right now we had MC in here with 33-20. You had Craig in with 24-17, I believe. 36-33 from Justin. You're saying Flacco is going to throw for 400 yards. Bri, it's because that's what that was one of my Twitter polls, is how confident are you as a Browns fan about this
game? Nobody's thinking like there's even a chance we're going to lose.
I'm going to go with the Browns only because CJ Stroud is a rookie, and we do have the best defensive player that is playing, which is Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett needs to have a game, Bri. I know it's going to be hard for him to have a game, but just the disruption of Myles Garrett is enough. I'm going to go Browns 28 and Houston 21.
All right. Gotcha.
So we'll see what happens on there. Bri, you wanna talk a little food before we get in our top 3?
Sure.
All right. Hey, I don't have the sounder, but take a look at this, Bri. I did come up with the cover art. And it's time for Fat Boy Thursday. All right. So Fat Boy Thursday.
Nice.
You like that? It looked good, didn't it?
I like it.
Take a look at that. You got the chef knife there with some grapes and stuff and a little cutting board, So for Fat Boy Thursday, we're talking 2 fork or 2 spoon is the question. And we came up with some great ones. And the reason why I brought it up is there's a lot of foods you eat with a fork, a lot of foods you eat with a spoon, and a lot of foods you can eat with both. And the first one that came in the Network 216 chat, Bri, was macaroni and cheese. Bri, how do you eat your macaroni and cheese? Now, do you use a spoon or do you use a fork?
I use a fork. I'm not opposed to using a spoon, and sometimes spoon makes a lot of sense, but pretty much always a fork.
Okay. Everybody else has picked fork that has said that. I eat my mac and cheese with a spoon.
I used to. When I was younger, I would eat it with a spoon, and it's not a terrible idea, but I don't know, it just seems weird to me. It's probably a me problem. I don't see why you wouldn't, but have you always done it with a spoon?
Always done it with a spoon. Like I even like the craft, because the reason why is I start stabbing stuff with a fork, and I only get like 1 or 2 on there. With a spoon, you get at least a good scoop out of that thing, and especially
if it's cereal.
If it's like a good cheese, like the shells and cheese for Stouffer's, you know what I'm talking about, that mac and cheese. Oh yeah, you gotta get a spoon on that one. Bri eats his mac and cheese with hot dogs cut up in it. I'm sure he has.
Sounds awesome. I mean, Justin's the culinary expert, so
he is.
If he says that, I'd do it.
Next one up on the list, Bri, mashed potatoes, fork or spoon?
Fork all day, and maybe it's just
guy, right?
Well, maybe I think that's just like the standard. I don't know. I feel like not many people eat it with a spoon, but and maybe I'm not many people.
All right, next up on the list, Bri, the Uncle Ben's or Rice-A-Roni rice, fork or spoon?
You're gonna hate me again. Fork. It's just that. It's a lot of it is just. I think what's acceptable.
Okay.
I don't see many people eating it. If you serve it to your guests, you serve it with a fork. I don't know. You tell me? Are you spoon guy for these?
I'm kind of spoon guy for these because I like the scoop. I mean, I don't want to, like mashed potatoes, I can kind of eat with either one. But like at Thanksgiving, you got the gravy, you got the stuffing, you got everything else. This is the fatness in me. I kind of corral everything with the spoon to get it to one spot. You know what I'm saying? And then, you just scoop and go. But the reason why I brought this really up was for like the mac and cheese, because like my kids will eat mac and cheese with either a fork or a spoon, and whether it's Kraft or, Velveeta shells or whatever it is, like I've always used a spoon for mac and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also had Mikey P. You remember Mikey P from the Yard Dogs and all that?
Oh, absolutely.
He brought up another question that I'm pretty sure we haven't discussed, but is cereal a soup?
Golly, my brain has never even gone there. So,
like, it's crazy, right?
I'm very closed-minded. I would say no.
And that's what I kind of figured. Like, I don't think of cereal because it's a breakfast. I don't think of it as a soup. But then he said it.
It'd be my favorite soup if it was.
Yeah, it kind of is a soup if you think about it. Even though it's a cold kind of soup, but it's still a soup.
Sure.
But like, how would you category oatmeal then at that point in time?
Boy.
See, these are the questions. These are the hard questions we answer here on Fat Boy Thursday. Now, Bri, is there any other food? Now, give me some spoon foods that you do use spoon for. So, like cereal, yes.
It's boring, yeah. Cereal, ice cream, yeah. I can't think of any other spoon foods.
Like
soup,
baked beans as a fork.
That's a good question. It's been a while since I've done baked beans. I would probably, if I'm getting it at like a picnic or something, yeah, it's fork.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm efficient, but like I said, I think that's just what people expect, so I just kind of do it, I guess.
All right. It's just a curious question. And the last question I have, and this got brought up today at work. Now, most Italian restaurant places that you go to, like Olive Garden and everybody else, they bring you out the spaghetti, they bring you out the side spoon. Now, do you use the side spoon to do your swirl, or you just a swirl? Okay, you
never. I don't think never once. I've seen other people do it, and it makes sense. But yeah, again, never once done it.
Okay, I've never done it either. But I kind of eat my spaghetti like a true fat ass because I don't even twirl. It's more like a scoop and trough. Like, you know,
just slurp that
thing right in. Like it gets on my shirt, face. Like it gets real when I eat spaghetti.
Don't wear white to Italian restaurant.
Hey, I start laughing because I'm sitting there looking at it and I go, "Should I put the bib on, honey?" She's like, "I'm like, I really like this shirt. I do not want to ruin this in one sitting."
Then you get speckles like all over like your shoulders and stuff because the bib only covers here, and then you slurp it up. It's still going everywhere.
And then you get that one random, like, how did you get spaghetti sauce above your freaking eyebrow? Look at that. How'd you get it up there? And
I'm telling you, it'll ruin shirts. It's terrible. I hate spaghetti sauce.
I get the same way with burgers now. Like I bite into a burger and it just slops out on the shirt, and it's like, well, screw me then. All right, here we are. All right, well, that's our Fat Boy Thursday. I know. That's our Fat Boy Thursday. Tune in next week for a new one. All right, Brian, let's do our top 3, and then we'll do trivia. And then I have a special treat for everybody as you get out here and do your honey-do list. And I got a little pregame from Clevelandology to watch. If you want to stick around and watch it, you can, but it's a little hype video for the Browns. So, all right, Brian, our top 3 tonight is our top 3 Browns regular season moments. Okay. I will go first. Number 3 for me is seeing the playoff sign held up in the air. Just knowing that we made the playoffs, Bri. Not had to worry about the last game. We locked into playoffs, all that. Number 2 was Jim Donovan getting to call the playoff winning victory with Nathan Segura saying, the last time, Jim, that you said this, there was nobody in the stands. And now the stands are full. How about that? Browns made the playoffs. Jim Donovan got to call it. Truly amazing. Truly amazing.
Do we know, is he going to Houston?
I don't think he is, bud. He's been joining.
He doesn't go to away games.
He's been just going home games.
But he went to Cincinnati, probably because it's not a very far ride.
Yeah.
I mean,
it depends on,
I wish
on how he's feeling.
I wish they could find a way to let him just call it from being back home, being at his house or something like that, and just watch it.
That would be awesome.
You know, because there's always a delay or something on the radio anyways. So, yeah, I think most Browns fans would probably prefer that rather than getting like a live call.
And, Brian, my number 1 moment, and we haven't seen it since Josh Gordon, Amari Cooper going off for what he went off for. One hell of a game. Just seeing that. Those are my top 3 regular season Browns moments. What about you, bud?
All right. I got my number 3 is Flacco kind of taking reins of the team. You know, when we thought, well, DTR's hurt, Deshaun's done for the season. You know, we don't know where the season's going, and then Flacco comes in here and just. It was really, you saw glimpses of it in the Rams game, but we ended up losing it. But then that next game, was it the Jacksonville game? Or was that the next game that we won? You know, you just started to buy back in. You started to believe it again, and it started to give you hope. So yeah, that was a big one. That was my number 3. My number 2, I'm going to say Njoku's performance against the Jets in the first half, because he was on his way to set records based on his first half, and he was just making play after play after play, and a lot of it after the catch. So it was just an unbelievable performance. And then my number 1, I'm with you with Amari Cooper. It's a Browns record. It's never happened before. So certainly you have to give him his due for that.
Let's see here. Craig said 1 for me was when they beat the Jets. 2 would be beating the 49ers. Yeah, that was a good one too.
It's big.
And 3 is when Nick Chubb came back and smashed the guitar against the Steelers. Forgot about that one too.
That was awesome.
Yeah. All right, Bryce. So we're here. Let's finish up the trivia. You asked me the last time the Browns were the first seed in the playoffs, correct?
First round bye.
First round bye.
Because before they used to have 2 teams that would get a bye, so I can't say for certain they were the first seed.
88?
Very close. 89.
Oh, shut up.
You're right.
Oh.
It was, you got to figure it was right around that time because they had some unbelievable teams. But 89, I can't remember. Maybe some of our older listeners might be able to refresh their memory. I don't remember what they did in 89. They didn't make it to the AFC Championship, I don't believe.
Didn't they get beat in the second round?
That would be, I guess that would be the only other option.
Obviously.
If they didn't make it to the AFC. No, but you're right. But yeah, so I don't know who they lost to or what the circumstances of it would have been a home game. Yeah, I don't remember.
I can't really look that up right now. So,
no, that's all right. Somebody will. If you're curious, Google it.
Hey, that's one hell of a trivia, bud. That's great. And Justin got it for 89. So there's
nice. Well done.
Trivia, right? You said that. I think that was a game against Denver.
Okay. Yeah, that would make sense. Maybe we just lined up with Denver in the second round rather than the championship that year.
All right, Brian, you got a honey-do list. Get the heck out of here so you can go do what you got to do. God bless everybody.
Yep. God bless you. God bless America. Go Browns.
Brian, have fun on your trip, brother. I will see you on the other side. I'm going to play this hype video. And everybody, have a great Browns game on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. against Houston. Enjoy it. Lock it in. Have fun. The Browns are in the playoffs, baby. So let's do this. Let me bring up this video right here. God bless you. There it is, Bri. See ya.
There it is.
Love that, man. Love that Big Bri. All right, let's bring up the screen here. And here it is from CLEology. Have fun. I'll be sitting here with you watching it because it's going to pump you up.
I don't know what to say, really. Either we heal as a team, or we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. In hell right now, gentlemen. Believe me. We can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time.
The postseason is back in Cleveland. And Jim, 3 years ago, you made that icon. All the thing missing is all of you. Well, tonight, everybody is here, and this city get together and celebrate season.
And the last thing in Browns fan wants to see Nick Chubb holding his left leg.
Oh, boy.
Go season-ending surgery for a broken bone in his throwing shoulder.
The Cleveland Browns season is up.
If there's any Cleveland people listening to us, your season is done. It is over.
I know the men in this room. I know what you're about. I know we're about that fight. This team's going to fight. What we do.
This isn't the same. This team, they're never out of it. They all.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. coming. Hurts. But I gave you your chance to deliver. Now it's
Okay, looks like I had connection issues. So, guys, let's try this again. I apologize. Let's try this again, and hopefully, I don't have the connection issues this time. As I try to pull up everything, great. It's going great. There it is. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Justin. It's my fault.
Either we heal as a team, or we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. We're in hell right now, gentlemen. Believe me. And we can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time.
That's it! The Browns are going to the playoffs! The postseason is back in Cleveland! And Jim, 3 years ago, you made that iconic call. The only thing missing is all of you. Well, tonight, everybody is here, and this city, get together, have fun, and celebrate. What a...
And the last thing any Browns fan wants to see, Nick Chubb holding his left leg.
Making the announcement that Deshaun Watson is set to undergo season-ending surgery for a broken bone in his throwing shoulder.
the Cleveland Browns season is over. They ain't nothing more than the New York Jets.
There's any Cleveland people listening to us. Your season is over.
I know the men in this room. I know what you're about. I know fight. This team's fight. That's what we do.
This isn't the same old Browns. This team, they're never out of it. They always believe.
Yeah, get the dog in his mouth. Everybody get the dog in his mouth. Yeah. Smack this to the... No, turn that up.
Oh, yeah, I'm on my way. I'm coming. Don't
Yeah, get my dogs with me.
Don't lose faith in me. I know you've been waiting. I know you've been praying for my soul. Oh, oh. 30 years you've been dragging your feet, telling me I'm stand. 30 years been claiming around, been promising, want you to feel failure. I know this hurts, but I gave you your chance to deliver. Now it's my turn.
Them early mornings, them long nights, brought us to this moment right here. Through ups and downs, left and right, there's no water in our boat. And we're going to take this boat the whole way. Hell yeah.
So without further ado, I like to introduce hope. What's my definition of success? Listening to what your heart says. Standing up for what you know is while everybody else is. Taking the two between your legs. What's my definition of success? Creating something no one else can. Being brave enough to dream big. Dreaming when you told me just quit. Giving more when you got nothing left. Next person that I'm taking chance on. Something that I thought could never happen. It's a person that can see the bright side through the dark times when there ain't one. It's someone who ain't never had nothing ain't afraid to walk away from more profit because they'd rather do something that they really love and take the pay cut.
And it is intercepted by the Browns.
Or change.
The Browns have stunned this crowd at M&T Bank Stadium.
By a stranger. It's a person that can take the fears and they like to turn them into motivation. It's believing and showing no one else does. It's amazing. 30 years of running, 30 years of searching, 30 years of hurting, 30 years of pain, 30 years of fearful, 30 years of anger, 30 years of empty, 30 years of shame, 30 years of broken, 30 years of anguish, 30 years of hopeless, 30 years of hate, 30 years of never, 30 years of maybe, 30 years of later, 30 years of faith, 30 years of hollow, 30 years of sorrow, 30 years of darkness, 30 years of hate, 30 years of baggage, 30 years of sadness, 30 years of stagnant, 30 years of change, 30 years of patience, 30 years of suffering, 30 years of torment, 30 years of 30 years of bitter, 30 years of lonely, 30 years of pushing everyone away. You'll never revolve. I know I can change. We are not enough. We are not the same. You don't have the courage. You don't have the strength. You don't have the will. You don't have the faith. You'll never be loved. You'll never be safe. Might as well give up. Not running away. You don't have the guts. You're the one afraid. I'm the one in charge. I'm taking up. I'm taking up. Reigns.
How was that, everybody? So, welcome in. I got to close that out now. Let's go, Browns. All right, let's enjoy this playoff game. Let's have a blast. We are definitely uncorked, unloaded. We're out. See you guys next Thursday. By the way, go subscribe to Network 216. See ya.